Imagine building a full drawing app from scratch in just 2 weeks. Not for clients, not for a company, but for my 9-year-old daughter. Today, I'm going to show you the app I created for her, the story behind it, and her priceless reaction when she tried it for the first time. Trust me, you will want to see that part. This app has everything a kid's drawing tool should have: layers, brushes, patterns, RGB color selector, blending option, and it's all built in Go. Why did I build this instead of just downloading something? My daughter is in 4th grade and drawing is her favorite subject. She never misses her art class. I wanted to introduce her to digital painting, but here is the problem. Most professional tools are either way too complex for a kid or way too expensive for something she's just starting with. Krita, GIMP, Photoshop, great tools, but not the right fit for 9-year-old. So after weeks of hunting for the perfect app and hitting nothing but dead ends, I thought, why not build up one myself? A simple, fun, lightweight drawing app designed exactly for her needs. That's how this project started. Now when you build something like this, you need boundaries, otherwise you will never finish. So I set 2 rules. I can't spend more than 2 weeks, I still have my game engine project to work on, and I must have minimum feature set: brushes, patterns, layers with blending, and a color selector. Simple but complete. With this goal in mind, I kicked off the project and named it Kids Canvas. So let's dive into the code and see how I built this from scratch. And then stick around till end because you will see how my daughter reacted when she used it for the very first time. So I kicked off things by setting up a project directory. Nothing fancy, a main.go file and a go.mod file with project name in it. Since I wanted app to feel smooth and responsive, I picked Raylib for rendering. I installed the Raylib, imported it in my main.go and just checked if the app builds, and boom, it compiled. No errors, a good start. The next step was obvious: create a window. Raylib makes this super easy. One line of code with init window, pass the width, height and the app name, and just like that I had my very first window. Here is the catch. When I tried closing it, nothing happened. Escape key? No. Close button? No. I thought I broke something, but actually I had just forgotten to add the drawing calls in the render loop. Rookie mistake. Once I fixed that, finally the window opened and closed like a real app. Now a window that's stuck in one size, that's annoying. So the next feature, make it resizable. A single flag in Raylib and suddenly the app could snap, stretch, maximize like a normal desktop app. Way more user friendly. But let's be honest, no app feels complete without its own icon. I grabbed the one which I designed for my GUI framework project. I dropped it into the icons folder, loaded it as an image and set it as a window icon. Except when I ran it, nothing, no icon, just a boring default. Turns out, I misspelled the file path. Classic. Once I fixed that though, there it was, my own app window, running its own custom icon. And honestly, the tiny detail made it feel like a real application for the first time. The fundamental thing in any drawing app is, well, actually draw with the mouse. I had never done this before, but I had a pretty good idea how to do it. Track the mouse pointer as it moves inside the window and paint the brush shape at those positions. For the first test, I kept it super simple. Just draw a circle whenever mouse moves, and here is what it looked like. At this point, I thought, wow, it works. We can draw on the screen. But then reality hits. The app was drawing even when I wasn't clicking the mouse. Basically, every little movement became a scribble, not the desired result. To fix that, I modified the function to only draw when left mouse button is held or right. Now it felt like the real brushstroke, smooth, intentional, and under control. But what's the brush without size control? I added a simple feature: press plus or minus on keyboard and the brush grows and shrinks. To do this, I updated the stroke struct to include a size attribute. Every stroke stored its own size and the keyboard events updated in real time. A small change, but it made drawing feels instantly more alive and customizable. Now, here is where most people tune out because it sounds like the boring part. But trust me, this is the backbone of the entire app. Let's talk about the architecture. When you break down a drawing application, there are 5 essential components. The canvas, where everything is drawn, brushes, the tools you exactly paint with, the layer system, because modern drawing without layers is basically impossible. Color management, selectors, blending, RGB control, and finally the UI, the glue that ties everything together. So I started creating ghost structs for each of its components in its own file. That way, the project stayed clean, modular, and easy to expand later. It is time to go more deeper and see how this app actually built. Think of it as a tour of engine that makes everything work. First up, the brush. It holds everything you need to create a stroke, the color, the shape, the pattern. It also knows whether you are freehand sketching, drawing a straight line, or even erasing. Whenever you click and drag the mouse across the canvas, it's the brush that records your strokes and prints them onto the active layer. And if you switch to pattern mode, the brush instantly loads a PNG pattern. The same ones I exported from Krita and strapped into a canvas as you draw. It feels almost like having your own mini pattern library built in. Now, no drawing app is complete without layers. In my case, a layer is just a ghost struct, but it's packed with all the essential components. The texture, strokes, blending mode, opacity, basically everything that defines how the layer should look. Track of its own UI buttons, so you can control it directly from the interface. To manage all these layers, I built a layer editor. This is like a conductor of the orchestra. It adds layers, removes them, keeps them in order, and even updates their IDs when you move them up or down in the stack. So if you drag a layer to the top, the editor is the one who is making sure everything stays consistent behind the scenes. And then we have the canvas, the big stage where everything comes together. The canvas takes all your layers, merge them, and present them in the final result you actually see in the app. Of course, none of this matters if the user can't interact with it easily. So I added a bunch of UI elements. A toolbox with different brushes, eraser, and the color selector. A pattern bar at the bottom where you can instantly pick from the different brush patterns. Layer controls to toggle visibility, switch blending modes, or even move layers up and down. And quick access buttons for basics like new, save, or open. All these little touches make it feel less like an experiment and more like a complete user-friendly drawing app. Finally, after 2 weeks of late night coding, debugging, and testing, I reached at a point where all my goals were done. Honestly, I couldn't wait to show it to a person I built it for, my daughter. I sat her down, gave her a quick 15 minutes tour of the app, and then just watched from the behind as she started exploring it. And her reaction? Well, I will let you see for yourself. First, she was a little confused, especially with layers, but after a few days of experimenting, she started using them like a pro, just like a real digital artist. And that's what exactly I'm hoping for, that this app would help her grasp the core concepts of digital painting in a way that felt fun, not intimidating. Now, this app is still basic. Still so many features I would love to add, but for now, I am wrapping it up so I can continue my journey building a full game engine. But if you are curious, the GitHub link is in the description. Feel free to try it out or even build on top of it. Made it this far. Thank you so much for watching. Drop a comment and let me know what part of graphic programming you would like me to cover in future videos. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to hit subscribe. It really helps me keep going. Alright, that's it for today. Time to say goodbye, and I will see you in the next video.